Today's webinar is about human trafficking and awareness. We have our mentor, Samra, with us. She is Director Training at the Gateway. Human trafficking is the recruitment, transportation, transfer, and harboring or asset of people through force, fraud, or deception with the aim of exploiting them for profit. Men, women, and children of all ages from all backgrounds can become victims of this crime, which occurs in every region of the world. The traffickers often use violence of or fraud employment agencies and fake promises of education and job opportunities to trick the victims. In this session with Samra, you will be getting the information regarding purpose of human trafficking, modes of transportation used for human trafficking, identification of person being trafficked, and handling of such situation. So Samra, thank you very much for your time and dedication for the cause with WomenAscension. Please, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mohi. My name is Samra. I'm not going to take more than 20 minutes of your time, and I'm going to start how and why today's topic is human trafficking. A few years back, a lot of years back, I had a chance to discuss or meet a person who was somewhat being trafficked. That girl did not know. She thought that was her only choice to live. And I was very young at that time. I did not know what to do. I came home, I didn't know what to do with this information. It was very new to me. I was overwhelmed. And a few years after, I went in a conference to Doha, and that's where I saw world is actually working on the purpose to reduce or eliminate this heinous crime. That's where I got inspired, and I thought I'd be able to contribute through this platform and other. So I'm going to show you a few slides I prepared. You may have seen it, you may know it, you may not find anything new, but it may provide a nudge that what is happening around us, and it is so close to us that it's unbelievable. So the definition of human trafficking by ICAO. Since I am from aviation, most of my talks or topics are shadowed with civil aviation organization and aviation. So this is the definition from a document from International Civil Aviation Organization that tells what exactly human trafficking is. It is exactly like smuggling objects from one place to the other. Now, objects they do not have will. When it comes to humans have will. They have a choice. They are given a choice. But when it comes to not giving them choice or restrict them or harnessing it, it becomes human trafficking. Trafficking in persons is a form of modern day slavery. It involves trading of human beings without their choice and will for the purpose of exploitation. I talked about choice here, but we will move forward in this talk. We will see that there are certain places that there are no choices. People are not giving choice to live their life the way they want. This is a quote from United Nations. ICAO is a body under United Nations, actually. United Nations carried out a survey, and in this research, 155 countries contributed, Pakistan not being one of them. 79% of human trafficking is done to sexually exploit people, women, men, and most commonly children. Victims are usually women and girls. It was seen that women were trafficking women normally. It was a norm, and it is done because it is very, very easy for women to involved in such crime or any crime for that matter and get away with it because of the stereotyping we have. 18% is done due to encourage forced labor. Now, forced labor is something that it occurs in third world a lot. People are harbored and moved from third world to different parts of the world for forced labor. And with this, I'm going to move on to my next slide. I'm not pointing toward a region or people or culture. It's just that it is happening, it's around us, and whatever I have here, it's from what is available in these reports or papers. Unfortunately, we don't have numbers from our very close to us. It's easily seen but not recognized around us, especially when I see around me there are people, there are children mainly. They are forced to work and they do not know that they have a choice to say no because of the circumstances around them. That is what they have always seen. Every day I see news that so and so family, uh, it's very unfortunate that so and so family has exploited their maids, their children working with them, and hurt them so bad that they lost their lives. It happens around us, and that is part of human trafficking as well. Forced marriages are happening around us. It's very common in my region where I'm from, and it is done to move property from one family to the other. It is done to protect property, and it is recognized as a part of human traffic or a reason for human trafficking as per United Nations and ICAO. Organ removal, we have talked about it. Now, it's a hidden crime. Why this crime is hidden? Victims rarely come forward and point out that they are being trafficked. There are many reasons behind it, many reasons. We are going to talk about a few. Number one, fear of traffickers. The trafficker has put some pressure, amount of pressure put by trafficker on the person being trafficked is huge. And the person who is being trafficked feels that they're unable to talk for themselves. Fear of law enforcement. Now, I'm not talking bad about the system we have, but it is seen that certain crimes, they are taking place only and only because they have support from certain people, from agencies, law enforcement agencies, and not all, not the whole system, but part of the system supports such things. That's why such crimes take place. Often because of language barrier, people do not come forward. In my personal opinion, when I see around me, people do not come forward because they think that is how life is. When I met this person, I had so many questions. I asked her, why is she there? And does she want to do anything else? Answer was, she does not know why she's there because she was born there. However, she denied that she would want to do anything else. That is because her limited thought process, maybe. She did not know that she could do anything else. That is all she had seen in her life. She was a 23-year-old girl. People do not know. People just think that this is how the life is across the globe. Now let's profile a trafficker. In these 6 pictures, some of them are traffickers. Can one of you point one out? Just one. Can someone recognize a trafficker by reading their profile or just looking at their face? These pictures are taken from sensitive files, however, available for public knowledge. All of them are traffickers from different regions of the world. That involves 3 women as well. It is very difficult to track a trafficker. They could be our friend. They could be in our neighborhood. They could be our family members. They won't talk to us. It could be my spouse. They just don't look like criminals. This is the reason it's very difficult to spot a trafficker. There are some indications we need to know that we learn how to spot a trafficker. A trafficker would come up to you and talk to you like a normal person. You would not be able to read their profile and put a finger on them. However, if you know how to identify a person who is being trafficked, you might be able to help that person and spot a trafficker as well. Now I'm going to, this is, sorry, there's some background noise. I'm going to discuss 3 elements through which the process of human trafficking, and it's going to be very interesting for those who do not know the elements and sub-elements. It has, number 1, an action which involves recruitment. For example, which area to recruit from, abduction of children, women, and men, transportation, transfer, and harboring. Number 2 is means. Now, means can be, they can end up in willful movement of that person who is being trafficked, and also forceful movement of that person, for which that trafficker would require pressure, abduction, fraud. Through means, they perform an action of recruitment. And number 3 is a purpose. What would be the purpose? Like we said, we saw before, facts shared by IKO. The purpose could be prostitution, other forms of sexual exploitation, forced labor, and removal of organs. This is the process of human trafficking through which this kind of smuggling takes place. Now, where I, as an aviation person, come in this process is number 2 of the first point, an action. Human traffickers heavily use aviation as their transportation means, which is why being in aviation business, we train our people to identify traffickers and people being trafficked, and what would be the key indicators. Let's look at the general indicators of person being trafficked. That person might appear being controlled, coached. When they talk, you will feel that they're talking in a trained dialogue or speech. They would not move away from it. They would repeat their words a lot. They would work long hours. For example, in a factory, in an industrial area, you could see that people would work long hours. They have no house, home. They would stay there, and they're working. They would lack basic possessions, clothes, clean clothes, or clothes appropriate to weather, or food, shelter. These are the basic things they would not have. This is for everybody in aviation and outside aviation. This is for everybody to understand that people showing these signs may be people who are being trafficked. People who are being trafficked would limit themselves to a premise and they would not move outside. There would be excessive security around the premise so that they do not leave the property. This is very significant. People who are trafficked, there are many organizations working as human trafficking organizations in underworld. They have their own branding, and they would like to brand people who they traffic so they know that they belong to us. People are trafficked in huge containers through oceans and by air. Lots of people are trafficked in one moment, at a time. These people who are being trafficked are tattooed and are branded in a form of tattoo so that they are easily recognized which organization they belong to. Us as aviation personnel, we look at such tattoos. They appear disconnected, and you may feel they have dramatic changes in behavior. This is because of mental disturbance. They may be engaged in commercial sex. They are being sent to various properties for this activity, and they are disoriented. They may have sign of abuse, for example, cuts, for example, bruises. Different stage, fearful, anxious, and depressed. These are behavioral indicators which you may see in one person who is being trafficked forcefully. Malnourished people who do not get enough to eat are easily controlled. They are disoriented. You may be able to identify a person who is malnourished and accompanied by other indicators that this person is being trafficked. And again, signs of restraint and bruises and torture. Handling of an apparent trafficking on board. Now, this is specific to transportation by air. In aviation, these are the 3 steps we talk about. This is for everybody's consumption. This is our specific identification checklist for cabin crew. However, I would request everybody to pay attention to this because it's not limited to insides of the aircraft environment. Person who is being trafficked would avoid eye contact. They would avoid and not trust law enforcement because they may have witnessed something or not. They would not be in control of their own travel documents. This would always be controlled by somebody accompanying them, somebody who might appear in control. That's what I witnessed in the example I spoke of earlier. Has a language barrier with the trafficker, may have no money, no personal items, or carry-on baggage. Excuse me. Not wearing appropriate clothing for travel or appropriate for weather, for example, may have one layer in extreme cold weather or otherwise. Comes from a known that this is very important for us to understand that we teach people, we teach cabin crew to understand that if person is coming from a destination which are given to us in our trainings, then we have to be extra careful. We stay vigilant. We move around about the cabin a lot. These are some more points. I mean, unaware of destination, responding submissively, not allowed to talk. This had I have actually seen some of these in my experience previously, not all, but some. Someone would answer for them or translate for them. They may appear disconnect with the person they're traveling with. You can easily tell that the person is not comfortable with the person they're traveling with. Does not have freedom on the aircraft to separate him or herself. These people, when they're being trafficked, always accompanied, even if they want to go to the lavish bathroom, they would not be given a chance to go alone. This is very important. This was in the introduction given by Maheen, that this happens. Trafficking is done through fake ads, job frauds. Now, the person who is being trafficked, may be a girl or a boy, may speak of a job revolving around media. They don't know where they're going, or they don't know who is going to meet them at destination, and they may demonstrate unusual behavior, and it may appear out of place, not according to, not comparative in comparison with the environment they are in. This is one of the last but very important set of steps we teach, and it may help everybody else. If you come across such a person who you think in your fair judgment is being trafficked, you are not going to confront, you are not going to become a hero. That's what we do. We don't become a hero. We don't try to handle the situation ourselves, because we are not trained for it. We don't know what are we up against. So we have to be very discreet and relay the information to any agency we know we can trust, or in our case, we relay this information to Tower. We do not confront the trafficker at all. We do not attempt to rescue the victim. In our normal daily day environment, this will come in handy, that if we come across such person, we would not immediately take charge of the situation and try to rescue the victim from that trafficker. No, this may harm more than one person. We have to act normally, do not display unusual concern or alarm. This is very difficult for human beings to do. When we are in the know of something which is not daily day information, our behavior starts changing. We need to make a conscious effort in order to keep everything normal in our brain, thereby in our behavior. This is specific to our aircraft. We reported to our seniors. Lastly, I'm going to summarize that we have gone through introduction to human trafficking, understood what it is, the elements of human trafficking, general indicators for general public, and indicators specific for crew, action, set of steps you saw. I'm sorry, this is not PCAs, and this is the document I used in developing this PowerPoint. Thank you very much, everybody, for your patience, and I would like to open the house for any questions, if there are any. Thank you.
Hi, Samra. This was very nice presentation. Samra, as a person, I travel a lot. If I see such sign, what should I do? That's my main concern. When I was listening to all these things, what should be my steps?
As a passenger, you are not at all supposed to take any steps directly in resolving the situation. For example, in different situations, there are people who are directly involved in human trafficking, who are right next to that person who's being trafficked. And there are sleepers who are traveling within the passengers, and you would not know. They would not talk to the person who is being trafficked or the trafficker, their colleague. They would just be there. If anything goes wrong, they would stand up and may cause more harm. So I would strongly suggest that if in case you come across such a situation, first identify, be sure. Do not try to attempt to make contact with the person who is being trafficked, just inform very subtly, very subtly to the senior most flight attendant.
All right, Samra. All right.
Thank you. Question very valid.
Thank you. So does anybody else have any questions? All right. Samra, you have got the question right, one of the question. So could you please explain the audience that doing the wrong judgment is nothing to be feared of?
Thank you very much for this question.
Thank you, Samra.
It is very likely that you may pass wrong judgment given this information. It's very brief. First of all, I'd like to request everybody to equip yourself with information which already present on internet. Number one. Number two, if you're not sure about any case you are witnessing or in your surroundings, please do pass this information even then to the responsible authorities. It's for the greater good. No harm will be done, because I'm sure that no normal person would keep a relative or a family member malnourished just because they're angry at them. If you see that, just this much, if you see that, you may contact the authorities and get that checked. It's our social responsibility. And all I'm sorry, but you may not be able to talk to that neighbor or person, family member ever in life, but it would just be for the greater good.
Samra, there's one question in my mind.
Yes, please.
It's just like, what kind of human trafficking commonly you found in your like professional? For example, we are in Pakistan, right? So in Pakistan, what are the common cases of human trafficking that we have witnessed?
In the past decade, it has changed from prostitution to dark web, unfortunately. And we have measures within, I must say, Pakistan Civil Aviation is actively working to arrest this issue. We have measures to, we have strict documentations and lots of filters in case a child is traveling alone, because it involves children, unfortunately. There's prostitution all across Pakistan. There's willful prostitution and forceful prostitution. It is mainly they are seen traveling in certain events during certain period of time during the year. However, we can't do much because they are going in groups. They are traveling happily. They are called from one destination to the other. I'm not going to name them. By very higher authorities, and they think that this is the way life is. It's extremely unfortunate. And in order to arrest this issue, the transportation of children from air, at least Pakistan civil aviation has put a lot of filters, in which one of them being mainly is travel of a minor. When a minor travels, airlines are supposed to take certain measures. For example, additional cabin crew who is responsible for that minor, so that nobody is taking advantage of that minor inside the aircraft cabin.
Okay.
This is
All right. So, Samra, what advice would you like to give us? Like, we are like very average-minded people, to be honest with you. When we travel, we are so happy we're traveling, or either we were so stressed, we are traveling. So how could we actually observe? What are the key elements for us? Like, we are very immature. Which elements, common elements, you want us to observe when we are traveling?
I'm going to answer this with a supporting example. I once was coming from the UK to Pakistan, and there was a girl with her own family. She was crying. She was, you can say, physically devastated, apparently devastated. I could tell. However, people around her were just treating her like family. I couldn't, and since they're from the UK and we can't really interfere. So that flight got delayed because authorities stopped that flight, and that girl was accompanied by airport police and was offloaded. This was done later on. We found out that was done by her friend in the UK, and he reported that if the girl is taken back to Pakistan, she would be killed in honor killing. So that comes under the heading of human trafficking. Now it's that sensitive.
Okay. So
it's difficult to point out. You need to see people who are traveling unwillingly, you would know. And people do not know where they're going, first-time travelers, for example, or children, they would be very uncomfortable with the person they are traveling with.
Got it. So basically, we need to see the signs that we all observe. But
yes,
you have advised us not to take any step. We need to reach the officials first, right? We need to them so that they look into this matter.
Yes, please. Yes.
All right, that's great. That's great. Samra, any advice that which you would like to tell us? Because we have a few people from Africa as well. We have Madeline, we have Gloria, we have Vincent. So they're here as well to listen to you. So any advice, please?
I'm sure they're experts in many areas, and I'm very thankful for them to them. The advice I would like to place is that in the region we are living in, it's very difficult to identify, and if at all identified, then report because of the system. I still like everybody to read and think. If we read, we would be able to know and make ourselves aware that what we are living with. It's very unfortunate it's very unfortunate, but when I read it, it just puts me in this overwhelming state where I feel that I'm unable to do anything, I'm not in control of this heinous crime. So I would request everybody to make yourselves aware, and it will be a surprise to you when you will know that this normal thing happening around in my neighborhood, it comes under the heading of human trafficking. And you will be able to do something about it, if you could, because identification is very, very important. And till today, we were thinking that this is just a disturbed family. Probably that's just not a disturbed family.
Indeed, indeed. All right, Samra, thank you very much again. It was a really good topic. And
Thank you.
And all of you, we have a YouTube channel. You can actually listen to this session again, and it will be uploaded in 30 minutes. And good luck to all of you, and have a nice evening. Thank you, Samra. Thank you for your time again.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you.